Hey folks, so our electric fence is not really working. It's not really causing a problem with the pigs right now. They're being good, doing as they should, but it is causing a problem with our dogs. We patched the pond area up. They're not getting out there. They're digging underneath the woven wire fence with the electric offset in multiple spots. And I have weed eated, so it's not that. There are a couple spots that it's still got some stuff I need to touch up, but for the most part, I've got that resolved, and that's good. The main issue is just that the ground is so dry, so our little 1 joule charger is not kicking out enough volts. Right here at the where it touches down, it's only hitting about 1.5. The further we go out in the field, there are random things that do touch, some ground wires that need replaced that have like the go underneath gates and stuff. The pigs have pulled up before chewed and then got reburied when it got muddy. So we'll pull some of those up over time and replace them, but not enough that it's dropping as we go out, which happens over distance, especially when the rods are dry. We've been watering the rods. I'm only hitting like 0.8 farther away. So solution, and we just bought a new tester because my other tester died. So while buying this new tester, and that's how I knew what we were hitting, our other one wasn't a digital. It was just the lights color up. It was the Patriot one, which sucked. This is a Dare, and it seems to work pretty good because it gives me a digital readout. We bought a new 5 joule charger, so let's go look at that, and I'm going to show you how to install a new electric fence charger. We'll swap out the old one for the new one. So here's the current charger, 1 joule, 25 miles Ariba. We've had it for years, and it has worked, but obviously not enough. It's not putting out enough juice, even though I've got pretty much all of the weeds cleared off with this drought. So we're upgrading to the Gallagher M560. This is actually a 5.6 joules, so almost 6 joules. Fantastic. And then for those of you that have watched the other fence videos that I've talked about are ground wires that I don't like. I did manage to find the kind I like again, except this is the Gallagher brand, so different brand. But this one is double insulated. The kind I had been getting that Lowe's quit carrying only had one insulation, but it's still that same thick gauge single wire with the black coating. Maybe this will stand up better if it gets exposed and chewed on. So your fencing system's pretty simple. You've got these knobs, and it's the same way on the other one. You just have those knobs, okay? You got your ground, you got your hot, and they're always green and red, okay? And what you need to do is your ground needs to go to your ground rods. I really need to put in another ground rod. I've only got 3, but because our well house is right there, and then we've got some stuff around the corner, you don't want to have your ground rods within 50 feet of your well house or anything else like that they could accidentally short out into your pipes. So I've got the one there, and then 10 foot away is the next one, and I have to kind of go at an angle and off into the yard, which would be a pain in the butt because I can't go that way, and I can't really go that way because then that's our septic. So I've got to go out there, so that means I need to dig a trench and a hole and put an access piece and do that. So it's kind of an ordeal, so I just haven't done it yet. I just don't want... Yeah, but the 2 had worked fine. I'll put in a 3rd here later. I got to run in and grab a copper wire, but 2 should still do us for now. All we need to do to set this up for now, because like I said, we've already got this. Our ground line comes out, comes over, comes up, comes down, backside of this, and then hooks on. You can see it right there is the first one, okay? And then it ties in from that down, buried, and you can kind of see where the dogs have exposed it there to where it ties into the next one, okay? And then the live wire up, over, runs along. It's been exposed down under the gate and ties in over there, okay? Electric fence systems are really pretty simple to set up. And to change one out, it's even easier because all the hard work is done. All I need to do is unplug this first, pull off those 2 connections, hang the new one up, put the connections back on, and then we'll go test the voltage. So. And that's all there is to swapping one of these out. You can see the green light ticking. Lets us know that it is working. Now we'll go check voltage. All right, so taking our new tester, try to drive it into the ground. The ground's really dry. So the last one was hitting about 1.5. Well, that is only marginally better. Really, you need to be hitting about 2 minimum. So even jumping up all those volts, we must have more shorting out than I think. All right, so since we're not really grounding out, is what I think the biggest issue here is. I went and got another ground rod. I got copper because the difference is like $4, and copper is more conductive than galvanized metal. But looked into it more too, and after buying the rod, of course. My other 2 rods are copper. Turns out copper also corrodes faster than galvanized, which is why galvanized is more recommended. And I just kept reading galvanized. I think it was because galvanized is cheaper, so that's why people were doing galvanized. No, apparently galvanized is more recommended because it doesn't corrode as fast as copper, which I was thinking the other way around. I thought, well, that galvanized is going to wear off and it's going to rust in the ground and not be as effective. If you're building it, go with galvanized. Apparently it is the better option. I bought the copper, I'm not returning it. I pulled off the connections, took a wire brush to them, and then we finally got some reading. But the problem is we got, it didn't really help that very much. And the meter was, but we couldn't get it to read at all on the non-brushed copper. So pulled all the connections off. One of them we really couldn't get off. We could pound it down, so that was great. It was too loose. But the screws are rusted. Got it wire brushed. And where the bare copper is reading 300 volts, and it should be reading on the bare grounded wire under 200. So, or it means you need more grounding. So we're gonna put in the 3rd rod, which you're supposed to have 3 rods anyways. Should have had 3 rods. The issue is our well house is right there. And where these 2 are right here on the ground, if I were to just come straight out here into the yard, I can't be 50 feet away from that. So what I have to do is form a 90-degree angle from this corner over and go like the opposite direction of most of the fence. So that's not very helpful, but it's the only way to keep 10 foot away from the other ground rods while still staying 50 feet away from the well house so it doesn't accidentally energize the well, which would be no fun when you're getting a drink of water at the kitchen and you kind of shock yourself, break your glass because you drop it. All right, let's drive this post in. Oh, and everything is bone dry. So I've been running a hose over here for like an hour on low trickle. Pretty decent trickle, actually. It's super wasteful. Just to make it to where I can even get this post in the ground or the rod in the ground. Because before, it like nothing. Wouldn't even budge. Now I managed to spear it into the ground. So fingers crossed. It's an 8-foot rod versus the 6, which is what most things recommend. But they also recommend 3 foot for every joule. So 10 foot is like 3 1/3 joules, and then we got a 5.6 joule charger, so I don't know. All right, I think the problem is thoroughly resolved now, and I don't regret as bad buying that charger. So we've got the tester into the ground. We're as far away from the charger as we can get. Yeah, 7.1. Up closer, it hits like 7.7. So I'm gonna bounce around. There we go. So I'm gonna call that good, even just with bare dry dirt laid on the ground there. Still hitting just above acceptable, whereas 2 would be acceptable. So I'm hoping that does it. The puppies have shocked themselves a time or 2. I was a little worried with how high voltage that was, but since they didn't die, I guess we're good. And none of my gates are hot, so it's not carrying through. The pigs have yet to touch it, but the pigs have been really good with the fence. So this is honestly just for the dogs at this point. I don't know why our boar hasn't tested it, because there is 1 or 2 of those feeder gilts in heat. But at the moment, I'm just going to be happy. And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, if you farm, fencing will be your #1 problem if you have livestock. And honestly, gardening, keeping deer out, and rabbits and voles, or not voles, sorry, rabbits and groundhogs and such. Anywho, if you guys like this content, remember to hit the like button and to hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications for when the next video drops. Thank you guys for following along. I really appreciate you.